Mountains have always held a significant place in human culture and geography, shaping civilizations, inspiring art, and driving exploration. The history of mountains stretches back millions of years, shaped by geological processes and human interactions. The Earth's crust has undergone continuous transformation through tectonic activity, resulting in the formation of mountain ranges. Among these, the Himalayas stand out, particularly Mount Everest, which is recognized as the highest peak in the world. The formation of mountains generally occurs through tectonic plate movements. The Himalayas, including Mount Everest, were formed about 50 million years ago when the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate. This colossal collision continues to drive the region upward, making the Himalayas one of the most dynamic mountain ranges on the planet. The geological processes that created these mountains have resulted in dramatic landscapes, including steep valleys, glaciers, and unique ecosystems. Mount Everest, known as Sagarmatha in Nepal and Komolungma in Tibet, rises to an elevation of 8,848.86 meters, 29,031.7 feet, above sea level. It is part of the Mahalangur Himal sub-range of the Himalayas and is located on the border between Nepal and the Tibet Autonomous Region of China. The mountain's sheer height and majesty have captivated explorers and adventurers for centuries, leading to numerous attempts to reach its summit. The first recorded attempts to scale Mount Everest began in the early 20th century. The mountain was already known to Western explorers, with early references made in the writings of British geographer John Claude White, who surveyed the region in the late 19th century. However, the mountain's true height was not established until the Great Trigonometrical Survey of India in 1856, which calculated its height as 29,002 feet, 8,840 meters. The desire to conquer Everest intensified after the height was confirmed. In the 1920s, several expeditions were organized, including those led by British explorer George Mallory. Mallory, along with Andrew Irvine, famously attempted to summit Everest in 1924. They disappeared during their ascent, and their fate remained a mystery for decades, sparking intrigue and speculation about whether they had reached the summit before their tragic end. Mallory's body was discovered in 1999, but the question of whether he summited remains unanswered. The first successful ascent of Mount Everest is attributed to Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa of Nepal, who reached the summit on May 29, 1953. Their achievement marked a significant milestone in mountaineering history and inspired countless others to follow in their footsteps. Hillary and Norgay's ascent was part of a British expedition led by John Hunt, and their successful climb symbolized the triumph of human spirit and perseverance against the challenges of nature. In the years that followed, Everest continued to attract climbers from around the world. The 1960s and 1970s saw an increase in the number of expeditions, with climbers utilizing advanced techniques and equipment. The first ascent by a woman was achieved by Junko Tabai of Japan in 1975, and subsequent decades witnessed climbers from various nations attempting to reach the summit. As climbing technology improved, so too did the accessibility of Everest. In the 1980s and 1990s, commercial expeditions began to emerge, allowing more people, including those with limited climbing experience, to attempt the ascent. This commercialization of Everest led to a surge in the number of climbers, with several hundred making attempts each climbing season. However, the increase in climbers has also raised significant concerns regarding environmental degradation and safety. The mountain, once viewed as a pristine wilderness, has become littered with garbage and human waste, prompting calls for stricter regulations on climbing. The dangers associated with high-altitude climbing, such as avalanches, crevasses, and altitude sickness, have become more pronounced as the number of climbers has grown. Tragic incidents, including the 1996 disaster that claimed the lives of several climbers, highlighted the risks involved in attempting to summit Everest. The phenomenon of summit fever, where climbers become so focused on reaching the top that they disregard safety protocols, has led to discussions about the ethics of climbing Everest. In recent years, the Nepalese government has implemented measures to manage the increasing number of climbers, including stricter permit requirements and fees. These regulations aim to preserve the mountain's environment and ensure the safety of climbers. The impact of climate change has also emerged as a pressing concern for the region surrounding Everest. Glacial melting has altered the landscape, affecting local ecosystems and the water supply for communities in the Himalayas. Researchers have noted that the glaciers on Everest are receding, raising questions about the future of the mountain and its surroundings. Despite the challenges associated with climbing Everest, the mountain continues to draw adventurers and enthusiasts from around the globe. The stories of those who have attempted the ascent, whether successful or not, are woven into the fabric of mountaineering history. Each expedition adds to the lore of Everest, from the triumphs to the tragedies. The cultural significance of Everest transcends its status as a geographical landmark. For the local Sherpa communities, the mountain holds deep spiritual meaning. The Sherpas consider Everest sacred and have long revered the mountain as a goddess. Their knowledge of the terrain and expertise in high-altitude climbing have been invaluable to countless expeditions. The relationship between the Sherpa people and the mountain reflects a profound connection to the natural world, emphasizing the importance of respecting local cultures and traditions.